In today's podcast, we will examine an incredible archaeological find discovered at Sennacherib's palace in Nineveh. The discovery visually depicts the destruction of the second most important city in all of Judah. Stay tuned, you won't want to miss it.
Welcome to Faith Affirming Findings, a podcast dedicated to sharing with you
the incredible discoveries from the field of biblical archaeology.
These findings will strengthen your faith, affirm the historicity of Scripture, and provide you with unique insights into the culture and background of the Bible.
Now, here is your host, Associate Professor of Bible Exposition at Dallas Theological Seminary,
Dr. Paul Weaver.
Greetings. Today I'm recording this video from upstate New York in Scroon Lake, New York at the Word of Life Bible Institute, where I am teaching the book of Daniel to these amazing students. To learn more about how you can study at the Word of Life Bible Institute, visit wordoflife.edu. Now, for your faith-affirming finding of the week. In last week's episode, we discussed Sennacherib's prism, which affirmed the biblical account that God prevented Sennacherib from conquering Jerusalem, the most important city of Judah. In today's program, I'm going to tell you about the Lachish relief, which depicts the devastating destruction of the city of Lachish, Israel's second most important city. As you might recall, in 722 BC, the Assyrian army took the 10 tribes of Israel in the north into captivity. But the two southern tribes, collectively known as Judah, were not conquered. But in 701 BC, Sennacherib returns to Judah and conquers many of the fortified cities of Judah. On Sennacherib's prism that we talked about last week, he brags that he conquered 46 cities in all, including Lachish. The destruction of Lachish is implied in three biblical texts: 2 Kings 18, 13-15, 2 Chronicles 32:1, and Isaiah 36:1 and 2. In Isaiah 36 we read, "Now in the 14th year of King Hezekiah, Sennacherib, king of Assyria, came up against all the fortified cities of Judah and seized them. And the king of Assyria sent Rabshakeh from Lachish to Jerusalem to King Hezekiah with a large army." The Lachish relief was discovered at ancient Nineveh in the southwest palace of Sennacherib. It is dated between 700 and 681 BC. This relief is comprised of 14 large plaster panels. The panels of this huge relief extend 8 feet high and 80 feet long. These panels would have covered all the walls of this particular room in the palace. Austin Henry Lanyard, the archaeologist who discovered these 14 slabs, brought 10 of them back to the British Museum in 1852, but unfortunately left the first 4, and therefore those 4 have not been preserved for us today. This relief depicts Sennacherib's siege and destruction of the city of Lachish, which occurred in 701 BC. The relief would have been constructed to celebrate this destruction of the second most important city in all of Judah. By the way, if Jerusalem, the most important city of Judah, was conquered, then the relief in the palace of Sennacherib would not have been depicting the siege of Lachish, the second most important city, but rather Jerusalem, the jewel of Judah. As a friend of mine says, the Lachish relief screams, "We failed to conquer Jerusalem." The first 4 slabs on the relief, which have not been preserved but were described by Lanyard, depicts the approach to the city of Lachish by Sennacherib and his soldiers. The next 2 slabs of the relief include a depiction of men with stone slingshots in motion, with the large stones very much visible. Other men are seen with bows and arrows. Both of these groups are attacking from a distance and are the equivalent of ancient snipers. Interestingly, above all the panels are pictures of vineyards, which were prevalent around the city, and in fact, if you visit this location today, you'll see vineyards surrounding the archaeological remains of ancient Lachish. As the relief progresses on the wall, The next two slabs contain soldiers nearing the city and depicts men with spears and wicker shields for hand-to-hand combat. On these same two slabs of the relief are soldiers approaching even closer to the walls. A siege ramp is visible, and siege engines as well as battering rams, which were used to do damage to the walls and gates of this fortified city. These slabs just mentioned, showing the actual siege of the city walls and gates, were located directly opposite the entrance, and therefore would have been the first thing people would have seen as they entered this room of Sennacherib's palace. These slabs also show torches and stones being thrown down upon the approaching army by the citizens of Lachish. Other citizens are seen fleeing the city. The relief also depicts the aftermath of this destruction. It portrays families who are prisoners of war being taken captive to Nineveh along with their livestock and other possessions. Also depicted are men being filleted alive, others decapitated, and still others impaled. On another slab, as the relief progresses, Sennacherib is sitting on his throne as prisoners beg for their lives, and the plunder of Lachish is paraded in front of him. Above Sennacherib's throne is an inscription written in cuneiform script that is translated, "Sennacherib, king of the world, king of Assyria, sits on a throne, and the spoils of Lachish pass before him." The face of Sennacherib has been damaged, probably by an enemy who later takes possession of this palace, or even his sons, who later assassinate him. Also on this relief can be seen Sennacherib's military camp, which was probably located on a hill across from the city of Lachish, where Sennacherib could view safely from a distance. It includes tents, chariots, soldiers, and horses. All of this can be seen and is on display at the British Museum in London. It is well worth a visit. What is the takeaway from all of this? First of all, Judah was an important nation in the 8th century, just as the Bible depicts. Second, the city of Lachish was an important city, just as the Bible describes. Third, Sennacherib was a real character who had many military exploits, just as the Bible states. Fourth, and most importantly, the depiction of the destruction of Lachish, the second most important city, and not Jerusalem, the most important city, supports the biblical record that God protected Jerusalem and did not allow Sennacherib to conquer it. See last week's episode in Isaiah 37, 2 Kings 18, 2 Chronicles 32. I hope you'll join us again next week for another wonderful faith-affirming finding. As we approach Easter, we will investigate an important archaeological discovery regarding Pontius Pilate, and the week afterwards, Caiaphas, the high priest. You won't want to miss it. See you next week. And that is your faith-affirming finding for the week.
Faith Affirming Findings podcast is a listener-supported podcast devoted to affirming your faith in the reliability of Scripture and illuminating your understanding of Scripture.
If you would like to help sponsor the Faith Affirming Finding podcast,
You can make a tax-deductible donation of any amount, large or small,
at faithaffirmingfindings.com. That's faithaffirmingfindings.com, and click on the Give tab.
We hope you'll join us again next week for another exciting Faith Affirming Finding.